Please welcome to the stage your MC, Josh Zaporzan, and Chair of the Ignite Committee, Matthew Thomson, to present the Ignite 2024 Award.
All right, I'll grab everyone's attention, please. I trust that everyone has enjoyed dinner, engaged in some energetic conversations, and truly are enjoying the company around each and every one of you. As has been tradition at this event, each table is a unique gathering of young associates, sponsors, Asper School of Business faculty and staff, student ambassadors, and of course, our new students. What a great opportunity this is to network, to connect, and to learn from a great mix of individuals at your table and throughout the room, which really is a true representation of what the Young Associates is all about and the value that we set out to provide to our members. It's now an exciting time of the evening, time to present the 2024 Ignite Award. And here to join me with this presentation is Matthew Thomson, Strategic Sourcing Business Manager at NFI Group. Matthew is an Asper alum, former CSA president, board member of the Young Associates, and this evening's Ignite Dinner Chair. I invite Matthew to now share with you a little bit more about the meaning behind the Ignite Award.
Good evening, everyone. The Ignite Award honors an accomplished local thought leader who has directly, through business, professional, or community endeavors, made an outstanding impact in Manitoba. Just like the Young Associates, recipients connect, learn, and give back. The Ignite Award recognizes those who not only forge ahead, but also look back to ensure those who come after them will find their own successful paths. The criteria of the award includes the following 4 leadership qualities. First, being thought leader, someone who is seen as innovative or influential in the community, someone who has paved the way for new thinking, future leaders, or for members of the business community. The second is being a local leader, someone who lives and works in Manitoba and who has a connection to the Asper School of Business in a significant way. Third is an outstanding impact and achievement, where this person is outstanding, being defined as being distinguished, celebrated, or meaningful. Successful, meaning they've achieved excellence within their business, community, or personal endeavors. Someone who advances equity, diversity, and inclusion in business and/or the community. And someone known for community impact, a leader who has dedicated their expertise and time to supporting the community of Manitoba. And finally, the ability to inspire, the ability to compel, someone who can show resilience, passion, someone who's a disruptor, or who has taken an unconventional path or approach. The Ignite Award itself, to my left, has been custom designed for Ignite and inspired by the fire in the heart of all business leaders. It is hand-sculpted by a local Canadian glass artist, Gordon Boyd. Using shards of glass to create a flame-like effect, the award is made by taking something broken and using it to create something new and beautiful, something business leaders do every day while building their businesses. Designed to not only be an award, but a celebration of both art and business, the Ignite Award is a representation of the potential each leader has to make a difference. The award is given to a local leader whose passion, focus, and skills have created an undisputed legacy in business and the community within our city and province. Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the screen.
A love for Winnipeg and Manitoba, combined with a deep-seated passion to make a difference in his community, has helped fuel and guide Mark Chipman's decisions throughout his business and philanthropic endeavors.
You know, there's a genuine care about not just what happens today in our city, but where it's going and the longevity of the city.
The True North story and Mark's role in it has helped shape our city for generations to come. Whether it was acquiring an international hockey league team or building a facility in downtown Winnipeg, everything was done with longer-term goals and visions for the city in mind.
In a sense, I guess you could say that True North, our city and our province, has received the call we've long since been waiting for.
When I think of Mark Chipman's pursuit of an NHL team coming back to Winnipeg, I think of somebody who was passionate about his city, Winnipeg, who was passionate about hockey, understood how much it meant to Winnipeg to first lose a franchise, and then how much it would mean to bring it back. And Mark was the consummate gentleman, the consummate professional to deal with, and without his efforts, the Jets never would have been back.
For Mark, the return of the NHL and the Winnipeg Jets in 2011 was as much a victory for the community as it was for True North.
There's this global identity, being able to go around the world and have people say Winnipeg, yeah, Winnipeg Jets and whatever. So kind of putting us back on that, prime label, that level that so many other big cities are. So we're kind of a small but a big cities.
Believing it is important to lead by example, Mark strives to demonstrate community strength can lead to corporate success, and that helping others is a winning strategy, with continual reinvestment in the community, venues, and the downtown.
I think among other things, what I love about Mark is he, as much as he has expectations of all of us, he is also the first person to suggest that he will roll up his sleeves and be able to help wherever necessary.
True North is a founding partner of the Downtown Community Safety Partnership, and Mark and the Chipman family have championed a number of initiatives through the True North Youth Foundation, including Camp Manitou, the Winnipeg Jets Hockey Academy, and Project 11, all of which work to empower youth and support the goal of a strong community.
We read or hear about things Mark has done for people. I will tell you that for every one thing we hear about, there are 20 that people will never know. And he's got a relentless determination to make this a better place.
Mark's principles of life and business are not entirely of his own making. His father, Bob, used 12 precepts to guide his own life. Among them, the winners in this world are those who give. Be thoughtful. Always focus on a good tomorrow. And praise others.
I think another way to display leadership, though, is to know when you should step back. That maybe it's your voice that shouldn't be heard, and you stand in solidarity with somebody else, and you say, listen to what this person has to say, and you help strengthen those voices. And working with Mark over the years, he's such an exceptional leader because he knows when to step forward to use his voice to try to draw attention, but he also is very good at stepping back.
I would describe his leadership style as inspirational, a very trusted leader. His integrity, his honesty, and his level of care is incredible.
We know that Mark does not like the limelight, but he's got incredible judgment and empathy. And so when Mark Chipman speaks, people listen. People really want to hear what Mark has to say.
Our 2024 Ignite Award recipient embodies the essence of humility and innovation, continuously driving transformative change while inspiring those around him with his genuine and charismatic leadership qualities. With an extraordinary blend of creativity, resilience, and passion, he has not only achieved remarkable success in his professional endeavors, but has remained deeply committed to making a tangible and meaningful impact in our community, our city, and our province. His unwavering commitment to uplifting our community and dedication to supporting future leaders sets him apart as a true visionary, exemplifying what it means to lead with purpose, doing the right things for the right reasons, and inspiring those around him. Mark Chipman is the executive chairman of the board of True North Sports and Entertainment and the Winnipeg Jets Hockey Club. In addition, he serves as the governor of the Winnipeg Jets on the NHL's Board of Governors and is chairman of the True North Youth Foundation. Born and raised in Winnipeg, Mark attended St. Paul's High School and later the University of North Dakota, where he played varsity football while earning an honors BA in economics and a Juris Doctorate degree in law. Mark entered the business of professional hockey in 1996 through the acquisition and relocation of the International Hockey League's Minnesota Moose to Winnipeg. During his time as president of the Manitoba Moose Hockey Club, Mark was an active member of the AHL's executive committee, during which time he developed True North's vision and eventually the opportunity for the return of NHL hockey to Manitoba. Together with business partner David Thomson, Mark led the team that developed Canada Life Centre, Hockey for All Centre, and ultimately the acquisition and relocation of the NHL's Atlanta Thrashers, later renamed the Winnipeg Jets in 2011. Mark has been the recipient of a number of awards, including the AHL's James C. Hendy and Thomas E. Brett Awards, as well as the Order of Manitoba. In addition to his business and hockey interests, Mark is actively involved in a number of Winnipeg community efforts. He and his wife, Patty, have both played major roles in establishing the True North Youth Foundation in 1996, which provides a range of support, activities, and wellness programs for youth and their families, including Project 11 and Camp Manitou. Additionally, Mark founded Gonzaga Middle School in 2016, providing enhanced and holistic education for low-income families in the downtown neighborhoods of Winnipeg. Mark has been committed to taking an active role in creating a safer downtown. In early 2019, he initiated key conversations that led to the development of the Downtown Community Safety Partnership. Mark's late father, Robert Chipman, was one of the founding members of the Associates and a major contributor to the business community. The Chipman family has a long history with the Asper School of Business and have long since understood the impact that the faculty and students have on our community, supporting our future Manitoba leaders. The Ignite Award recognizes those who not only forge ahead, but also look back, ensuring that those who come after them will find their own successful paths. Mark Chipman is a visionary thought leader who has consistently ignited change and driven progress. His entrepreneurial spirit has significantly contributed to our province's growth and has inspired countless others to strive for their own success, making Mark a truly deserving and admirable 2024 Ignite Award recipient. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce to you an individual that is a true trailblazer and an exemplary Manitoba thought leader, our 2024 Ignite Award recipient, Mark Chipman.
Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished guests, your 2024 Ignite recipient, Mark Chipman.
I'll read to you what's inscribed on the Ignite Award. Mark Chipman, for his exemplary thought leadership and its impact on Manitoba, September 18th, 2024. Congratulations, Mark. We'll grab it for
Photo?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that very kind, remarkable introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Premier Canoe, thank you for your kind words. Asper School of Business students, I'm deeply honored to be standing here. To be honest, I'm overwhelmed. So I got to tell you a little bit about how this happened. About a year ago or so, I got a call from Matthew asking me if I would attend an event for first-year Asper students at which I'd be presented with the Ignite Award. And as I was processing the call, there were several things that made it easy to say yes. To begin with, very fond of Matthew. He's a wonderful guy. 2, I have a great deal of respect for the associates and the young associates. In fact, my father, as was mentioned, was one of its founders. And 3, for reasons that I'll explain in more detail in a few minutes, I have long since held the Asper School of Business in the highest regard. But a few days after our conversation, I started to receive some texts and some emails congratulating me on receiving this wonderful award. And that's when I first got the sense this was going to be a little bit more than that modest luncheon that I had recalled the event to be and had attended. If you don't mind, I'm just going to pretend that I'm at a luncheon right now with a few hundred people and some students. And you might be asking yourself, where's this going? Well, here's the thing. Last spring, I was approached by my good friend Kevin Booth, president and former classmate, teammate of mine at St. Paul's, advising me that I'd been nominated to accept the Ignatian Award at their dinner this November. For those of you who are not familiar with that event, it pretty much looks exactly like this, okay? Same room. Hopefully the Premier will show up. He often does. A lot of lovely people, great meal. That's 2 months from now, okay? But when he asked me about it, I went to meet with him actually, and I thought surely he's going to understand I can't do this. I explained to him the fact that I had agreed to accept this wonderful award from the U of M, and you know, he's a dear friend. We've known each other for 50 years. Actually, 50 years ago this month, we entered St. Paul's together. So I thought he'd understand. Turns out he didn't. And he quickly appealed to what we call our sense of Catholic guilt. And by the way, that's a real thing, okay? But before you get any ideas that I have any regrets, let me assure you, nothing could be further from the truth. What I'm trying to communicate without any false modesty is that one of these events is more than enough in a lifetime. Two can easily ensure a legacy of being a narcissistic jackass. So for those of you unfortunate enough to have to listen to me twice, which I hope to be a very small number, I'm truly sorry. And for those of you who have already bought a ticket to that event, please feel free to stay home that night. So I've been reflecting on how to navigate all of this, and as I did so, I was struck by something that I hadn't even considered during that first phone call with Matthew, which is that this event allows me to finally thank the Asper School of Business for everything it has done for our organization. I would go as far to say that without this wonderful institution, I wouldn't be standing here this evening. Now that may strike you as being a little strange or even patronizing, given the fact I never attended the Asper School of Business. So allow me to explain. Back in the early 1980s, my father, Robert Chipman, started a new business called National Leasing under the leadership of a very smart guy by the name of Nick Logan, a graduate of what was then called the Faculty of Commerce. Nick was the first graduate of that faculty to work for our business. He and his colleague, Tom Pundyke, after some humble beginnings, built the company into the largest of its kind in Canada. Now, there were many ingredients to their success, but among them was a very deliberate strategy to avail themselves of the talent that was being produced at the U of M. It was almost like you had to have a commerce degree to get a job there. And man, did it work. Now, I should say, I did work for Nick without a commerce degree, but it wasn't a very glamorous job. He and Tom organized me as a repossession specialist when I was home for the summer from UND, and it sounded like an intriguing job, and it turned out to be one of the worst experiences of my life. But I'm not saying it had anything to do that I hadn't attended the Faculty of Commerce. I've always wondered about that. Anyways, fast forward a few years, at the request of my father, I came home from the US after about 10 years. And aside from marrying my beautiful wife, Patty, that was the best decision I ever made, was to come back to Winnipeg. Problem was, I was a trial lawyer with an economics degree, and I soon find myself way, way, way above my head in many, many ways. Some might say I still am. And sensing that this wasn't going to go very well, I set off on a course to do exactly what Nick had done. However, I soon found out that the automobile business was not particularly appealing to students who had just graduated with a commerce degree, and nor were many in that business all that eager to welcome freshly minted Asper grads. Nonetheless, that's exactly what we did, and it turned out to be the third best decision I think I ever made. So in 1989, Nick Leping and I went out to a job fair and determined to hire our first commerce grad. Nick already had a whole bunch, and we hired a young man by the name of Jeff Pacello, who quickly became and remains the gold standard of how to operate an automotive dealership. A few years later, when the term IT was still new, we hired Kevin McNeil, who brought us into the IT age. Today, Kevin is the Chief Operating Officer of the Burchard Automotive Group. With my transition over to the hockey business in '96, we employed the same strategy. Early on, we were able to hire Jeff Major, who's been a stalwart leader in our ticket sales operation, and Dorian Morphy, who is now our Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer. As we began our NHL journey, we were able to bring on Lorna Daniels, who now serves as our Senior VP and Chief Financial Officer and has become one of the most respected of her peers in the league. Shortly thereafter, JP Adams joined us and is now our VP Partnerships, and more recently, we were able to land Tyler Kurz, who's doing a fantastic job as our VP Analytics and Technology. After managing a somewhat challenging assignment of getting what we now call Scotia Hockey for All up and running, Gavin Johnson joined the team at True North Real Estate, working alongside Jim Ludlow in delivering True North Square, the new Wawanesa building, and he's now playing a critical role in the redevelopment of Portage Place. But back in 2006, following the opening of what we now call Canada Life Centre, I found myself once again over my head. I had assumed the presidency of our parent company, McGill Stevenson, and there was just a lot going on. National leasing was soaring. Birchwood, under my brother Steve's leadership, had been on a robust growth trajectory. And it was about that time that we started to get a sense that the NHL might have an interest in returning to our city. The details of that are for another time, but suffice it to say, I simply did not possess the skills, nor did anyone at McGill, to tackle that project and get our arms around everything else we were doing. So I hired Brad Peacock, an Asper grad of 1996. Armed with his CFA designation, Brad quickly brought a level of corporate finance, deal savvy, and old-fashioned common sense to our shop that allowed us to navigate the largest growth period we have ever experienced, including our return to the NHL. Today, Brad is the president and COO of McGill. In 2016, he had the wisdom to bring on Paul Beattie, a former tax partner at KPMG and an Asper contemporary of his. Paul is now our CFO, and the combination of these two guys have navigated the business my father started in 1960 with a gravel pit and a used car lot into an enterprise solidly grounded in my father's remarkable entrepreneurial skills, together with their own highly developed financial acumen. In 2021, Brad and Paul elevated another brilliant Asper grad to our head office, Katie Hall-Hirsch, who also earned her law degree from Robson Hall. Katie currently serves as the Vice President of McGill, prior to which she worked on our real estate operations before moving over to join the team that Jim put together to do True North Square. Now, those names represent just a fraction of the list of Asper grads, past and present, that have made us who we are. Obviously, there are countless others in equally important roles that made huge contributions, but tonight is about Asper, and I'm absolutely thrilled to finally be able to thank the school for the incredible business education you've provided to so many members of our team, without whom I really can honestly say you'd be bestowing this award on somebody else tonight. So it started with my father and all the jam, skill, resilience, perseverance he saw in Nick Logan. and it continued with everyone that followed and made Asper a part of our DNA. As I reflected on that reality, it occurred to me, it's really Robert Chipman that is deserving of this award. So if you don't mind, I'd like to accept it on his behalf and to say for him and my entire family who are here tonight how immensely grateful we are for the gift of the Asper School of Business. Thank you.
We're thrilled to be recognizing you with the Ignite Award this year, and really looking forward to hearing more about the why behind the impacts that you and your family have had on our city and province. I understand growing up, you always had a passion for sports, having played hockey, football, and basketball. After a 15-year hiatus and a lot of work, in 2011, you and True North brought back the Winnipeg Jets to Winnipeg. Can you tell us the story of why you brought the Jets back and the impact that it's made on our community?
Well, I think beyond the obvious, I think like many in this room, I was a part of the heartbreak. Premier Canoe described it, the piggy banks at the Forks, and prior to that, I was asked to get involved in the group that made a heroic effort to try and keep the team here, and unfortunately we were unsuccessful. And I've said many times, I think that was actually good fortune, because we would have been walking into a league at that time that didn't have any of the structure that we now have, that they got in 2004, that allows a market of this size to thrive. So it was really, really difficult. I think the team held so much pride for all of us, and it was my father, and I think my brothers and I and my sister will recall him saying over and over, no matter it was a business opportunity or a philanthropic opportunity, was to look for a gap, look for what's not being served that you uniquely can bring something to and help fill that gap. Well, the loss of the Winnipeg Jets was a pretty big gap at the time, but he was passionate. He had been on their board, and he was as heartbroken as anybody. So we just basically said, well, there's a gap, there's no hockey, so we tried to fill it with what we thought was the next best level at the time, and we thought if we just kept it alive, then we might get another chance at it. And there were lots of times when we didn't think that would be the case, but little by little, that's a long story, but I would say it started with my dad. His passion for it, and his encouragement, and that was a wonderful part of his leadership skills. He was just just always very encouraging and getting at, just sort of turning you loose.
Thank you. It's much like what we'd be taught in business school about finding an opportunity and finding a wedge in somewhere where you can you can get involved. So that's great. The work that's been done by you and your family and the companies that you've spoken about and we've heard about tonight truly has had a domino effect in downtown Winnipeg, with others investing in both residential and commercial spaces to help revitalize the area. Just this week, we've heard that the transformative redevelopment of Portage Place is nearly ready to move forward. What is it that you see in downtown Winnipeg, and in your opinion, why is Manitoba such a good place to live and do business in?
Well, I'll try and answer the last question first. I think, a good friend, Sandy Riley, said this many, many years ago. I think it was a United Way event. He described our city as a collective act of will. And that really stuck with me, really resonated with me, that our geographical advantages had long ago passed, and that we had kind of willed ourselves as a community, as not just a business community, but as an entire community, through a lot of challenges, and that we always take care of one another, and we find a way. I think that's what makes Manitoba unique. I'm sure it may exist elsewhere, but I think that's what makes it unique, is our resilience. we just have been so blessed to have been able to start small businesses here and watch them grow. The downtown, it's kind of a story of two different paths. It started in 2014 when there was a vacant parking lot across the street from us, and again, a gap, and it had been sitting there for quite some time, and we had, built Canada Life Center. The team was back, and Jim Ludlow and I are looking at this parking lot out our window every day, and so we set off on that path to see if we couldn't develop that property, and honestly, that and Portage Place are almost entirely owing to Jim and the team he put together. He is just done a remarkable job of it. I went down a different path. I started to see some things that really concerned me about our downtown. I'm kind of curious by nature, but I started seeing things that were really, really concerning and disturbing, and that's kind of it's been an incredible journey, but and I'm feeling now more hopeful than I ever have about the future of our downtown. I would say that's because the leadership that I see in Scott Gillingham, the leadership I see in Premier Canoe, they understand and have really embraced these issues. And most notably, in all the discussions I've been a part of with them, you can see a really very palpable level of respect between the two. And that's absolutely critical and necessary. These are significant problems, challenges. They're multi-generational in their origin, and they're going to take years to correct. I was a part of a delegation just recently, went down to Houston, who is the gold standard. They've reduced their homelessness population by almost 70%, and representatives from the province, from the city, from a number of the service delivery operations in the city were present, and there's a playbook. This is not splitting the atom. We didn't come back from there going, oh my God, we just saw nuclear fission here. It was really basic, simple concepts of, number one, really strong leadership. 2, political will, right? 3, collaboration. The stuff you learn, you can learn anywhere. That gives me a great deal of hope. Our problems are slightly different, but I think they can be. I think we can get our arms around this. And moreover, I think we have to.
I think many in this room would feel the same way, that the time has come, that it's a problem that we need to address. And so I think it's exciting is perhaps the wrong word, but it's exciting that you feel and others feel that we're in a position to really make some change there. And I just want to point out one observation, I guess, as we heard you speak earlier tonight, and the theme of the evening is sort of that maybe starting with your father's idea, you come up with an idea, and then you find someone that can help you execute that idea, and then you're on to the next. And so there's never an end to your reach, and you're able to really continue to branch out and help more and more people and build more and more businesses. So I think that's really admirable.
Thank you.
Let's start with Mark. We saw in the video that your life's work includes far more than hockey, car dealerships, and real estate development. You've been a champion for reconciliation, both personally and through the Winnipeg Jets organization. You founded the Gonzaga Middle School to provide enhanced holistic education to low-income families in the Point Douglas area. And together with your wife, Patty, and the True North Foundation, you've given back so much to the community and have always made a commitment to helping others. So life is clearly more than just business for you. Can you give us a little bit of insight about your philosophy in giving back, and maybe some advice for the students on the balance between business and giving back?
Sure, I'll try. Look, I think that, first of all, I think that you're going to have success in business, or you're going to have success as a parent, or you're going to have success as a community volunteer to the extent that you can build a relationship, right? And there's certain things you can do on your own, but there's absolutely nothing really that of any real meaning that you can't do better in relationship. And so I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but and in relationship, the extent to which you understand the objective, time-tested, self-evident truths that have governed civilization, right? And to the extent that you follow those principles or virtues, and it doesn't matter whether you think their origin is Aristotelian or it's divine. I happen to believe it's divine, right? Those concepts pick the cardinal virtues, right? Or pick any one of them. Imagine trying to move something forward without a level of trust, right? You can only develop trust after proving yourself to be trustworthy over and over. You can say the same things or put the same emphasis on resilience or integrity or whatever it is. These are self-evident truths. And if anybody were to deny their existence, I'd say, well, just try and get anything done using their opposites, right? So to me, that's where it all sort of begins, is can you, if you can wrap your arms around those truths and bring them into relationship, whether it's at work or wherever, you can kind of take on anything, right? It doesn't guarantee your success, but if you ignore them, it guarantees your failure, right? So I try very hard to keep things simple. The only thing I could say in front of this group tonight that I feel that I've done well is to hire brilliant people. I really mean that. I'm not trying to, I love, the reason I love the hockey business so much is because I grew up being a part of teams. And there's something about it, right? And the same principles apply in a hockey team, that apply in a boardroom, that apply in a hospital, that apply on Broadway. The same principles. They're just sort of brought to life in a different way. I love seeing teams get built. And then getting out of the way. And the people who lead, John Olford and his crew that lead True North, Kevin Cheveldayoff, who leads our hockey operations. These are really, really, really smart people, and they don't get dumb overnight like some people think general managers do. Kevin's a brilliant guy. He was the academic player of the year in the Western League. He's a really deep thinking guy. So you get a guy like that, and let him build his team around those principles. Man, it's fun to watch. It really is. And I could point to a whole bunch of examples like that throughout our organization.
Excellent, thank you. And probably means there's lots of opportunity for Asper grads in the future in this room, so.
Absolutely. I was asking one of our team tonight, trying to estimate how many there are, and we couldn't come up with a number, so. But like I said, I'm not here without them, so we welcome as many as we can get.
That's great. Last question for you, Mark, and
Sure.
Then we'll wrap it up here. No doubt that you've learned many valuable lessons along your journey through business and giving back, as it's been kind of the focus of our conversation. You've developed your own set of values that you live by and run your organizations by, and so we just heard about that as well. But with a room full of students here tonight who are just beginning, their journey at the Asper School, what piece of advice or pieces of advice do you have for them as they embark on their journey of becoming future leaders here?
Serve, right? They're all really smart kids. To get into Asper, smart kids. And they're going to do well. And being smart in today's world is that's table stakes just to get in, right? We like to hire smart people. We try, it's an inexact science, but we always try and find the perfect intersection between competence and character. You can have the most brilliant person in the world, but if he's or she is lacking in understanding of those principles, not going to be very successful, and vice versa. They could be the most wonderful, joyous, caring person in the world, but without the skills. Difficult in the world of business. So these kids are all plenty smart enough, they'll get in. What will distinguish them, I think, and they don't have to wait to do this until they get into school. They can start this tomorrow, is serve. Find a way to serve somebody, right? It may be you discover one of the students is struggling, and there's some way you can help them. Some things as simple as that. And because I think what you find is your life grows in the measure that you give it away. I really, really believe that, right? And if you can start that now, and I have to confess, I didn't understand that when I was so focused on what I was doing in undergrad and law school and on and on and on. I didn't get that until far too late in life to really appreciate that. You can take a hold of that concept right now in your first year at Asper. Let me say the words again. Your life will grow in the measure you give it away. Find a way to serve, right? Coach a team, volunteer, do something. I'm telling you, as an employer, those are the distinguishing factors that when you're looking at two resumes with the same GPA and all kinds of nice references, if we can find the person who has that servant mindset. And I say that because all of the very best leaders I've ever observed in my life, and I've had the privilege of seeing many of them in this room, okay? You work for one of them, okay? They all get that. They know they're servant leaders. There's so many books that have been written on this subject on just how to lead. I think a lot of leadership is innate, and I think you can become a better leader, but the best leaders the ones I would follow anywhere were like my father, and I'm going to tell you another one, Adam Lowry, okay? Like, he is a born servant leader. Always, always, always looking out for somebody else first. And, I mean, isn't that how you want to be remembered? Really? I mean, that's why I admire him so much.
Thank you. I think that's a really really powerful message for the students. So, Mark, thank you for sharing that. If I could paraphrase for some of the students from my experience in Asper, that's code for get involved and do other things. Don't just go to class. Not to oversimplify Mark's message, but Mark, it's been an honest privilege to hear from you tonight, and really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, with the students, with everyone in the room. Congratulations again on the award, and just thank you.
Thanks a lot, Matthew.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was well done.